Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center on this Wednesday, tracking some severe thunderstorm warnings now. One toward Ware County in Georgia. Also toward another area there in Florida with St. Johns County included till about 5:15. So I gotta watch for the damaging wind concerns here over the next little bit. Let's go ahead and zoom on in here right now toward the St. Augustine area, getting some pretty nasty conditions, some gusty winds, if not maybe getting toward that damaging range here right now. So you gotta make sure you're inside and away from windows there toward the first coast per se. Just be really careful as we're looking there in that area, northeastern Florida, and then around Waycross. I hadn't quite gotten into town yet, but in addition to the damaging wind threat, some larger hail possible there as well. So we're just have to be careful. Just gonna have to be careful as we watch things here progress over the next little bit as this moves in the direction of Waycross there. You can see Waresboro kind of in between, but a couple severe thunderstorm warnings here in place. So just be cognizant of what's going on here. We'll go back and forth. We had a third one for a moment there. It was the first one of the three actually issued. We posted about it toward Jefferson, Taylor counties, that general region there. But that got canceled out early as the threat was kind of dwindling some. But you can see severe thunderstorm warnings right now as we're looking. One to report to St. Johns County. Again, till 5:15 here. A severe thunderstorm is located over St. Augustine, Sword or near St. Augustine, nearly stationary. So St. Augustine Beach, South Ponte Vedra, St. Augustine, Swords, Butler Beach, Bolano Beach, St. Augustine South, Crescent Beach, Anastasia, and DuPont Center underneath this warning here. So definitely going to have to be concerned for that wind potential really setting up right in towards St. Augustine. Looks like, so as I back this up here, you can see how it's kind of tracking and really pushing in toward town here. See some of these brighter pixels as I kind of look around. Definitely could have some damage potential there right in town. Could get some trees, tree limbs to fall there around St. Augustine, maybe even a power line or two. So just be kind of cognizant of that. We have stronger storms kind of in between here. You see up toward Nassau, Duval counties, and you see Camden County, you see Hamilton County, Eccles, Lanier, and just you can kind of look even some stuff around Tallahassee might be getting there as well. But this is our other warning. This is some hail there that could be closer to an inch in size even. In addition to that wind hazard here that's moving in the direction of Waycross. Now we'll hold together and toward Waycross. We're not really sure. I mean, the warning says it would be more likely than not to do so, but can't guarantee it here just based on how some of these storms are going. It's only technically moving south at 5 miles an hour. So Waycross, Pebble Hill, Dixie Union, and Needham there underneath this warning here at this point. So just got to be careful as according to Weather Service here, large hail, damaging winds, and continuous cloud-to-ground lightning is occurring with this storm moving towards immediately. Remember, lightning is one of nature's leading killers. So remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning there. And torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. So do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So just keep this stuff in mind here as we go back on over right now to our other view. You can kind of see here what's going on with a marginal risk and play a marginal risk of severe weather. 1 out of 5 here, no formal watch or anything like that. But nonetheless, we have these warnings here in the yellow boxes in place. So you can see some areas have cooled off some with the rain around, but the area is more unstable here with the overall conditions leading to more potential for some damaging conditions, some more unstable air towards St. Augustine, same toward Waycross there, and that's where we're seeing these threats set on up right now. So again, I just have to be kind of watchful here, make sure you're taking precaution as we get towards some of these different spots here within the viewing circle. So whenever thunder roars go indoors, just seek such and such that sturdy building and stay away from those windows. So again, severe thunderstorm warnings here in Puerto 5:15, one for the St. John's, another for areas of Ware, so Waycross and St. Augustine, both really in the path of concern here. I know at this point St. Augustine's really getting it. Waycross again hadn't really got it yet, but it's kind of heading out direction. Maybe weakening a little based on the hail size signature coming down just a bit, but you can't let your guard down. We're pretty far from the radar view on this, so You can see how we have some hail still showing up there. Latest scan, southwest of Dixie Union, west there more so of Dixie Union. We had hail and the storm's core maybe a little bit more intense and the hail bigger really. What we're talking about there, you can see we don't have too much, we haven't had too much of that showing up here. This environment not really favorable for hail, but that warning does indicate an inch size of hail is not out of the question. Waycross, Pebble Hill, Dixie Union, and Needham. So again, we're just going to have to keep paying attention to that there. That's parts of Ware, northwestern Ware County. And then the other warnings for southeastern St. John's officially. The storm in St. John's was pretty much stationary, though we've seen some formation up towards St. Augustine and then south at 5 on the movement in Ware County, but not moving very fast. I know we've had quite a bit of rain in some areas today, like around Gilchrist County, over 3 inches was reported there. It looks like 6 miles west-northwest of Newberry. So kind of interesting to see that that note there as we're looking at some of our information. I know some other things we're watching too, just nationally here. Let me go ahead and zoom out here and say you have that pretty big marginal risk for the wind today. I'll go ahead and see that we also have something in Pacific that I hadn't really been talked about by me so far yet, but we're going to have to start paying attention to it to some degree here in terms of that national storyline. It may end up becoming a really big national story if things set up the wrong way. Right now, it's hard to say. I need to go and take the model guidance off because it's too far away, but the official forecast here has some type of tropical entity, whether it maybe is just extratropical and just the remnants of this system at the point it gets to North California. That's unknown, but I know the latest update just coming out right now. They're saying that you see that really icon there for tropical system there in California. If you look real closely, it'd actually be extratropical by then, but still, to even have a low pressure like that coming toward Los Angeles, it's very unusual, very rare. So it could really stir up the winds, the rain there in California, even if it's not officially a tropical storm by then. I know, again, this here would be extratropical. That's indication next week. Again, very, very rare to get something East Pacific to threaten the U.S. Of course, we have stuff toward Central Pacific sometimes with Hawaii, but we'll just watch this here. It is tropical storm right now, Hillary. So again, we're going to have to watch that. It's expected to become a major hurricane out there, though. And again, it could be an issue of some kind toward California, but hopefully it'll be weakening on down, but still rain and some gusty winds could be a story early next week. So that's a big national story that we could end up seeing develop, but right now, let's not get stressed out about that on the national level. Not affecting our 62 counties, so that's the good news at least. Not affecting our 62 counties here, as we see that coverage map. That coverage map here across North Florida and South Georgia. So again, let's just go ahead and keep watching things here on that local level. You can see around Waycross there, again, the severe thunderstorm warning going for another 13 minutes. We'll see if they extend this. If this signature stays like it is on radar, it very well could get extended with this, the purple showing up, the magenta colors here, showing up on some of our products here, indicative of some nastier weather conditions for sure. So, again, just watching things here. Let's see the wind signature. It might have been just maybe a tad more organized earlier, but not by much. As we watch it get a little closer to the radar, St. Augustine, you see some of these different areas of green, lighter green, indicative of some stronger winds there towards some of these different communities. So, again, I just have to be kind of mindful here. You see stronger storms in Marion County, Gilchrist County, even northern Levy County there. As we kind of look around the view toward Tallahassee, have an advisory, and Coastal Duval, a new advisory just coming out right now there. Gust of 50 possible there. Always got to watch out for the lightning as well. So, again, just something to kind of keep our eyes on here. I know we talked about that national story out of North California. Ironically, there's now a severe thunderstorm warning out towards San Diego County. Not necessarily because of what we were talking about. Pretty weak compared to what we're looking around here with the wind signature and all that week. So kind of interesting there from that national standpoint. Just thought I'd bring that up for a few seconds. But again, we study these warnings for a little while longer here for portions of the covered area. So we're just have to keep watching things. Again, we're watching mainly North Florida and South Georgia here. Watching mainly North Florida and South Georgia. I was just showing a little bit of California there a second ago for the national level, but we're looking at eastern Bradford County, North Central Florida, and our 62 counties are the focus. So Again, let's just go ahead and keep looking here. Severe thunderstorm warning towards St. Augustine, the nation's oldest city here. You can see quite a bit of wind even back further out toward I-95 there right now. So again, I'll just have to keep our eyes on that. See, there's a gust of 56 miles an hour at 4:58 at a measurement station there, XLWS Lewis. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to see, and that it is right into Ward town per se. It is over land, so you can see that there as we get on over to that view right now. Just kind of giving you that perspective where that is. So again, definitely having a little bit of impact here. Lighter rain out towards dark, nothing too impactful. Could make the roads kind of slick out there, though, so keep that in mind. But nothing that's an overwhelming story here at this point, but we'll continue to watch things, continue to give you guys the very latest on exactly what's happening to protect you, your friends, and your family. So that's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather, to keep you guys safe and informed. Let's go up to the north right now. You can see areas there of Camden and Glenn counties are there on Elliott's Bluff, seeing some heavier downpours there. We'll just continue to watch things in toward that area there. I know we're just trying to give you guys everything you need here to protect you, your friends, and your family. But I know that storm down toward St. Johns County. Well, we're going to try to effort and see if we can get traffic camera shots up of it. So let's go ahead and try to go over to that here. Once we get that loaded on in, see if we can give you guys a visual, a window to the world, per se, of this type of situation. Just a view. It is pretty nasty, as you were to tell now on this side. Let's take this full. This is I-95 there, mile marker 310. They're kind of zooming around to show the conditions here. Maybe trying to spot any accidents, anything like that. Looks like some vehicle accident there in terms of some folks kind of pulled off by the side, even toward the median there. So gotta be really, really careful in these type of setups. I mean, obviously, hopefully, folks aren't gonna get hurt here in this type of setup. So again, just watching things here right now. Florida 511 live view. That's kind of your storyline right now. It is treacherous out there during that evening commute, that Wednesday evening commute there towards St. Johns County. That camera kind of zooms around. They have control of that there. Florida 511 does. And just trying to get an idea of what's going on out there in these nasty weather conditions here at this hour. So again, severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect till 5:15 here. But it looks like it's not going to stretch past 5:15, despite how nasty it looks out there. They're saying they're going to expire it at 5:15. So let's see what they're saying about that. Kind of interesting, a little bit surprising, but let's see what they're saying here in the text data. I'll go ahead and kind of go over that. So they're saying that the storm has weakened just below severe limits and no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property, but it's a situation where gusty winds and heavy rain are still possible, but they're going to allow the warning to expire. So despite these nasty conditions, maybe not quite meeting those 60-mile-an-hour wind criteria levels here. So, and they are going to expire Ware County as well. So that's, again, a little surprising, to be quite honest, to make those decisions that quickly here. Definitely could kind of change their mind here and reissue over the next little bit if things start to get going again here. So let's stipulate a little bit longer, and then we'll kind of see what we want to do. I know these colors don't necessarily indicate those damaging levels in and of itself, but just the overall pattern makes me think we could still get some damage here. So be careful. Not as much lightning maybe as you would expect, though, and that latest scan actually said a little bit better. You see it kind of stretching apart some, so maybe that is a better sign there as we look towards some of these different areas. And then as we get up toward the north, and that area has kind of weakened on down some now. You're seeing that purple go away pretty quick, but you see how stuff just kind of pops. You're going to have more stuff pop back up real quick again and be more potent. So you got to keep that in mind here. You got to keep that in mind. So again, we'll just have to continue to watch things here. I know. Let's check some things here nationally. I know folks asking about Minnesota and places like that. So let's just go. This is going to be a really big national view, and it may be kind of hard to see some stuff here, but let's go ahead and just pull it up. You can see we do have a slight risk of severe weather in Minnesota and Wisconsin today. Already getting some non-thunderstorm wind damage being reported, but a little bit of a tornado risk up there, Minneapolis included, and some of the areas off toward the east, and then Eau Claire's there, and then hail risk a little bit bigger, wind risk there in play as well. So national storyline there, of course. Again, it's going to become a story where I have to start paying attention to some on a national level, because even if this is not considered a tropical system, we were talking about it a moment ago, if you're just joining us, we have a tropical storm in the Pacific here that could threaten, in some ways, the west coast of the U.S. here, based on the latest track. Now, there's a cone of concern with this that we can't see in this system, so there are some wide options here that this could take, some wide variability still in the potential track and strength. But here, this is not actually so. It is not actually so a tropical storm. It shows a system that's extratropical, but it could have those winds still coming into Southern California next week, which would be very unusual, and heavy rain, some flooding, maybe even some tornado threat. We'll have to wait and see. It's kind of bizarre to see that tropical storm that could be threatening California there early next week in some ways. Major hurricane before that, but we can run down in the core waters, of course, as it gets closer on in. But again, just continuing to give you guys the latest. I know 46-mile-an-hour gust there around Mayport at 5 o'clock on the dot there. So it's kind of always interesting to see what we're down with here with some of these different numbers. Still think we could get some more warnings. If we get too many storms, maybe not. But we have these storms here in play around St. Augustine still. Again, just watching things, tracking things here in the Weather Center. Trying to give you guys the very latest going between all of our different scans. Strong storm acting north of Crawfordville right now. Some gusty winds east side of Leon County. Winds there next to the 40 miles an hour, not out of the question as I'm looking at some of our latest data. That could be something to watch actually there. That looks like it's strengthening. That is strengthening. So that could end up getting a warning if that kind of it gets its act together a little bit more so over the next little bit. So something to kind of keep in mind as we're looking at things here in the Weather Center, as we try to keep you guys safe and informed here, try to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, just going to keep checking some of my different sources here for a few more moments at least before maybe wrapping this up. Again, just trying to err on the side of caution before we do wrap it up, but I'm just checking some things here behind the scenes. Wouldn't be surprised if we have some power outages in a few spots, so keep that in mind. I'm going to check some of those numbers right now. In fact, I'll move this map over just a bit, and I'll go back to the Jacksonville radar site. If we can here, I'm going to check some Florida power outage numbers as well. And we do see a good bit out in the state of Florida, not necessarily on our area, but 505 out in Hamilton County. I said 8,786 out in the state, 171 in Lafayette County, 72 in Gilchrist County, 92 in St. Johns, 186 in Flagler. So, and then in South Georgia here, let's see if we're dealing with some outages around Ware County, maybe north of Waycross here. Again, I'm just continuing to watch things, continuing to monitor. Okay, so we're looking here, 62 out in Ware and 84 out in Pierce County. So that's kind of a storyline there. By the way, Marion County, they're not saying winds to 55, not out of the question. Down that way, so just under severe limits there then in Marion County. So we're going to have to watch that. That's for central western Marion there at about 545. So we've got to be careful down here to make sure we don't get a warning on us here as the timeline does continue to evolve. It is like there's just some strengthening with that. So we'll just have to continue to track things here in the grand scheme. I know. Let's do some more here in the Pacific. I know, depending on the situation, again, I know you hear tropical storm, Pacific, you're wondering why am I concerned? Well, it's not going to affect us here locally, but nationally and the West Coast area here, you see some of our models. I mean, they're not that different in some ways. Again, this may not be considered a tropical system once it were to impact, but there may be a low enough pressure here, the heavy rain, gusty winds, which in those areas here are more magnified with the impact sometimes, and even isolated tornadoes early next week. Not out of the question here if this were to hold. I mean, you can see one of our models going further west here with the winds maybe in that range. Then the consensus model about what the hurricane center is following, that takes it right with the center of whatever's left of it as it is weakening, goes into Southern California. And then you have the third one closer to Baja California there, and toward maybe some of those areas further on up in the southeastern part of Southern California per se. So kind of interesting. We'll watch it. Nothing to worry about right now, but we'll be paying attention here. See if it's a really big national story. It might be something we'll turn our logo red for, but we're not quite there yet. We'll just continue to watch it. It's just we haven't really had a system threat in California. I mean, you have to go back. If I remember right, the last one actually made landfall, other tropical system down there was maybe in the 70s. That's just off the top of my head, though. So, again, that's why it's something to watch, because stuff that impacts areas that don't really get that type of weather could see anomalous type of impacts here that are a little bit more substantial in some ways, because they're just not even used to minimal tropical storms. So, again, just something to keep in mind. But okay, well, of course, the warnings officially went away here a moment ago. I don't think it's out of the question. We could get some more, though. That's why I'm kind of taking my time here before I may wrap this up, because I see some winds here, 40 miles an hour, give or take, right there near Mayport. I mean, still in velocity. That looks like it definitely could cause some issues. Some of that's going to be there right at the coastal waters, though, so may not end up being an issue too far inland, but it didn't look like it's really going away there, so they may issue a quick warning for a small sliver there in eastern Duval. Not out of the question. Gust at 34 up toward the airport there around St. Augustine just a few minutes ago. That's not too impressive, but then up stuff around Tallahassee we're watching, that was looking like it could get pretty close here, if not get severe. Well, that looks like it's about the same as it was. Maybe not much in the way of change there in that overall strength, but let's go ahead and go down here now. Again, Marion County here. You can see some heavier downpour west of 75 here. So again, that doesn't look quite as, on the Moody anyway, it doesn't look quite as nasty. Let's check Jacksonville or Tampa's radar. We'll go to Tampa, see if there's anything that's a little bit nastier about it. A little bit more wind enhancement showing up. We have to look really high up for this part on the radar, so makes it kind of tough here for the systems to get a grasp on here. But again, we'll just go ahead and watch, see if we get some type of signature. That'd be out there. Let's see here. I think near the airport. Yeah, pretty close to the airport there. You saw 88 degrees showing up. No wind numbers showing up yet, though, out of there. It takes a little bit sometimes, but got a storm in Camden County now. It's getting a little bit stronger. We'll need to watch it, but the velocity hadn't overwhelmed with it. This is the most impressive velocity right now, I think, that we're seeing right there, just north of Atlantic Beach. I mean, you're really seeing those winds come together, maybe even over Atlantic Beach in some ways, because I know velocity tells you one thing, but when you look at reflectivity, it makes me think this could be brought down a little bit further to the south and toward Atlantic Beach here with some of this wind impact. So, again, as you kind of put it all together here, so Neptune Beach there, maybe not quite as nasty there, but still whenever thunder roars go indoors, of course. So, again, no official warnings anymore, but we're just sticking with it a little longer in case we get another one to pop up, because I hate having to jump away and then come back here real quick. Because, I mean, you lose a couple minutes of warning by doing that, really. But it may happen. It has happened before. It's just the nature. We can't stay on forever. And sometimes you get more warnings here. I mean, we're not going to stay on forever when there's not an actual imminent danger here, where we have something that's just, you can just tell you've got to get a warning, then we would. But, I mean, if you're not seeing that, and you're not seeing like a tornado threat or something, this time of year it's a lot more tricky. So, because things can get close and then not quite get there. So, again, continuing to watch, continuing to track here. See those signatures there in Marion County. You see Gilchrist to Levy County there, Dixie County. You see some winds there in areas there north of Falmouth there, and north, really, and west of the community of Swanee, it looked like. You can see this signature here is still really impressive. It's right at the coast, though, but definitely has strength, and it's not really going off, but it is a little displaced when you look at it So maybe closer right in here, and it may make it really a situation where that precludes a warning from actually getting issued then, because of the way that is a little bit displaced there from the axial convection. Yeah, that latest scan is a little weaker now on that. So let's see here, back to Marion. That's a little stronger now. In Marion, it looks like just west of 75. So that may get a warning here pretty soon then, based on that far distance from the radar. This here, well, that's a little bit stronger. I know earlier I'm not seeing stuff around there, but that's a little stronger there around I-10 as well. And then you have in Echols County. You have in Echols County here some winds. Let's go back out toward Tallahassee. Again, let's just keep watching things. Keep tracking just a little longer. Make sure we don't get a warning on us. Just have to be kind of careful there. Again, that definitely looks like it's strengthening some. By the way, flood advisory not over to Gilchrist County, if you're wondering. This definitely looks like some nastier conditions here coming into play. That's definitely strengthened. I think they're probably going to issue a warning on this. Can't guarantee it because we're so far up. It's tricky here because you're kind of guessing in some ways. I mean, just we're good to go over the airport site, then you might not, and then you'd have maybe more problems though. But I feel like that might be getting right there at severe limits. Let me see if we have some cameras. If I had the system up, I might try to move it over. Yeah, let's try to move that over into that area right now. Let's try to move that on over if we can. And we'll get down there. See what some of the traffic shots are showing. Okay, some of them aren't even coming up, so pretty nasty probably down there. But then the ones I see that come up, they don't look as bad. Some of them anyway. Some of them don't look as bad. So I'm looking west of 301, of course, with these. For perspective, that's where 75 is. We're looking there, and just trying to get a good look at things. See if I can give you a good shot. Okay, if this one will come up, I'll show this to you. At 75, I'm marking at 348. Sometimes they lighten, and the light makes them look worse or better. This one's pretty bad looking. Not really bad, but it's nasty. Nasty commute. So there you go, I-75 northbound. I'm marked at 348.7. You can definitely see the rain coming down in that camera lens there. That's Florida 511 perspective. So that's telling the story here for sure. As we're looking at things in Northern Marion County right now, maybe just under severe limits at this point in time, with some stronger activity moving on through. You can see all those headlights there and the like. I have to have those on, of course, in these type of conditions, these inclement conditions. So back to the Doppler we go now. Still trying to give you guys the very latest on what's going on. Again, that just looks like it's really close to getting a warning. Now it just starts to smooth out a little bit more. What I mean by that, it kind of, the greens and reds fall off from each other some, and I feel a little bit better about this, and maybe we wrap it up at that point. But again, I just continue to watch things here, continue to give you guys the very latest. So let me go ahead and check things here. I'll zoom back out a bit. I'll go up to the Moody's site. You can see these winds here. Not quite severe. Maybe Hamilton and Echols cleanse that area. It's up just east of Tallahassee. See just northeast of Crawfordville. A lot of lightning there whenever thunder roars go indoors. Wind doesn't look quite as impressive maybe there, but you never know. Let's go back to that area in Duval County there. Eastern Duval. Looking pretty strong there, but a lot of that's the convection's actually getting off the coast. So kind of interesting with that displacement. You saw the light rain in Bradford, but yeah, this one in Marion, it's not going away here yet. I mean, it's further from the radar though. We have different radars we can try to use. Let's go ahead and check Tampa's. It's showing up from there some. 24, by the way, just to the north of the worst of this. So if that number starts going up some more, that'd be even more cause for concern. Maybe not quite yet though. You'd almost think it'd be just a tad higher, but in Moody's radar, it's really started to compact here just to the south. So again, definitely there some nastier conditions, some purples showing up there, 55, 62.5 dBz's. I mean, those are some really heavy downpour, and maybe some downpour where we're having hail mixing even. So gotta keep that in mind. And let's check at the population density here. I know it's not right in town, but it's close to the airport. I mean, that's one reason, and maybe not just if I stay on much longer if I don't get a warning. But again, let's just watch this. You can see, I mean, that was earlier. I've been switching radars. You can see that it still come together pretty quick. That's not all the frames, obviously, but again, let's just go ahead and back this up just a little bit. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. Back and forth there, and yeah, it's still coming together right there. I mean, it may start getting a little bit closer to Ocala, even though it's not. I mean, in some ways you could argue maybe not, but yeah, that even looks a little bit stronger down that scan. Let's go back to the Jacksonville radar here. Again, the stronger winds here just south of Martell, just near the airport there. You would think some of the strongest would come right over that site, so that could give us a good understanding maybe of what type of winds this would be capable of here over a few moments anyway, when it's around there. I mean, it'll either strengthen or weaken probably after it gets past there. That's just how things go this time of year. But again, a strong but not officially severe thunderstorm situation right now down here toward Marion County, but we'll just continue to watch. We'll continue to track. You can see the purple showing up, and then this is right over Southwest 60th Avenue there in Marion County. Again, even if we go off and we get a warning, have to come back, we're giving you a heads up. But guess what? It is issued a warning here now. That's what we were expecting, honestly. A severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued now for southwestern Marion, but really that whole region there, really under that until at 6 o'clock. At 5:25, a severe thunderstorm was located over Ocala Airport near Ocala, moving south at 10 miles an hour. So I know the movement's kind of erratic. Our system said it's moving north. I was moving it more northeast in some ways. So you never know. But Ocala Airport, Santos, Bellevue, Summerfield, all under this warning here until the top of the 6 o'clock hour. So again, getting stronger here. It'll be interesting to see what type of number we get on that gauge there at the airport, at the International Airport there in Ocala over next little bit, Jim Taylor Field. I'll be kind of continuing to watch here over the next little bit as the situation does progress on us here. I will definitely be kind of curiously watching things. This hail right now is expected to be about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, but then the winds could be up to 60, which is what was prompting this severe thunderstorm warning. So again, severe thunderstorm warning now for Marion. Of course, earlier we came on for St. John's and Ware. Those storms not as serious as we looked, and those warnings getting expired on out. But now we have this thread down toward Marion County, so different than what we were talking about in the description. But that's how it is this time of year. A lot of times, severe weather it's like that, but especially this time of year, things are pretty erratic here in nature. You just have to be kind of really on guard and go with the way the warnings and the storms are developing. So again, 24 miles an hour last check at the airport, but I would be surprised if we don't get a higher gust there than that once this kind of goes. It's going right over that area there. So that's pretty interesting to see. You gotta be careful, obviously, and toward that area. I mean, so even though technically they're saying it's moving south, I mean, this time of year it's hard to get a good signal, but you can kind of see that moving northeasterly with some of this. But as it starts to maybe build more, and it kind of comes together and pushes back south, so that's some erratic motion here is what we're talking about. Again, just going to continue to watch things here in Marion County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning until 6 o'clock here in Marion County. By the way, flood advisory now being issued for to Duval County and Jacksonville's area. But some heavier rain cut and some issues in spots today. But this warning here includes Ocala Airport, Santos, Bellevue, and Summerfield. Let me go ahead right now and put on our rainfall totals last 12 hours. So kind of see you guys where the heaviest rain's falling out today. And some areas toward Levy County getting 3-4 inches according to the Doppler. You can kind of see some of those popping on out. A lot of rain there. Gilchrist County, similar story. But a lot of other areas, not quite that much. Just, I mean, depends on where you're at. We haven't really got much in terms of measurable precipitation. We're at, yeah, just a few hundredths of an inch there on that rain gauge on this Wednesday. So, again, severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Marion County, though, right now. That's why we're on the air right now to protect you your friends, your family, right near the airport there is where we're seeing the potential for some damage. So again, this is a fairly impressive signature for this high up because we're not able to get a good look right at the surface. So we don't really know what's happening down lower except for like measurements on the anemometer or actual damage reports after the fact here in general, because it's not always safe to be going out right now to get damage reports, but if there are any. But again, watching this right there over this area. I know we have the cameras too. We showed you a little bit of a view there a little while ago. The worst is probably just west of 75 though right now, so that's something to bear in mind too, that we are getting a pocket over Ocala proper that's pretty heavy. Pretty heavy rain right over Ocala. The wind's not quite as strong with that as they are further out toward the west here, right over again areas like Southwest 60th Avenue, but again, right there at the airport. I'll be curious to see what type of gust we get. Now, there could be some pixel displacement if we're looking this far up, so if it doesn't go right over it, like the radar suggests it probably would, then we might get a little bit, if it doesn't show as high of a number, we get false sense of security. But in turn, you could have a situation here where we're really maybe seeing then maybe it's really strong winds, but then they're in just a more isolated spot. So again, just something to kind of bear in mind there as well. So again, I'm just trying to effort the latest information right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, I'm just going to keep looking at some of our latest details here. This morning up until 6 o'clock. So we'll just continue to check everything here. Continue to check everything as the latest comes on out. Let's go ahead and zoom back out just a little bit here. Okay, so just trying to see what we're dealing with. Just kind of see what we're dealing with at this present point in time. This severe thunderstorm warning put at 6 o'clock reports in the Marion County. So for the 29 minutes here, you can see the greens and reds. Again, not necessarily like a tornadic rotation down here. I know we have trouble sometimes seeing down here so much, so I guess you couldn't theoretically roll something like that out, but the environment's not really set up for that here today, so it'd be unlikely, but we can't tell how exactly the winds are oriented, except I think they're pretty strong. They're just aloft, and then that potential would seemingly be trying to have a chance here to get down toward the surface. So, again, you can see here the rotation and the wind enhancement is south. They're just west of Southwest 60th Avenue, maybe with some of the absolute worst there per se, but it could be displaced a little as we talked about. You have more tailwind there. You have Ocala Airport. Again, some nasty weather in that area as things came together. You saw the interaction that sometimes causes some wind enhancement here when these type of setups. So again, okay, that latest scan tells me it's starting to finally maybe weaken a little, but this could be by the time it pushes the wind down to the surface. So it could be a little bit tricky when you think about it. I mean, because you see how we had more purple and even some blacks there, and then there, and then now it's starting to kind of maybe just barely slowly fall off a little bit there, but and that latest velocity scan tells it a little bit better even. Got caught up with it actually, and that tells a story. This is right there just west of 75, so again, still some impact here. If we keep seeing this decay, eventually I'll probably wrap it up, but I'm going to stick with it a little longer, obviously, with this being right there in the worst some areas here with some population right during rush hour. Kind of on the west side of Ocala proper, but still, we're watching. I know there's a warning for Ocala, but again, no heavy downpours there, but the worst of the lightning and the wind potentials for the back southwest and the west toward the airport. So let's check some other storms here while we're on. I don't have a lot of advisories actually on some of these, but not necessarily needing them, but you can see there parts of Camden, some wind, quite a bit of wind there, and echoes it looks like off the Jacksonville side. Let's see how it looks close up. And there's some there. Not really overwhelming. Some stuff west of Waycross as well. Okay, let's go back further toward the west here. Things again change very rapidly this time of year. They really do change very rapidly here in these type of setups. You have to just kind of stay on top of them. Just kind of have to stay on top of them here as that timeline does go along. So still some wind enhancement down here. There's still the potential for some of this to get down toward the surface. So just have to keep that in mind. Let me go ahead and check here. Let's see, where do we want to go and check power outages in Marion? They have a tendency to get quite a few outages there. So I wanted to see if we're starting to get those to mount on up some in toward this area. Let me go ahead and check on over here. Over 7,000 customers in the dark and this day, but Marion so far not showing too many. Let's check Clay Electric. They do have some customers down there in that county that are under that electric company per se. So let's go ahead and just keep checking some things here. Keep checking Marion. So only one customer out on Clay. I mean, I don't know exactly the areas. Excuse me, exactly the areas there that are covered, but in terms of the actual topography. But let's see, I know Duke Energy. There's quite a few different ones here that cover. The aggregate map wasn't so many, but I suspect we probably have a few here and there. Let me go ahead and just check here. I'm going to view the current outages. I'll try to give you guys the latest here on what's going on. Okay, I don't see too many on this map in that area. I mean, you can kind of change on us here, so just bear with me. Let me go back on here and check Ocala Electric Utility. This one is update on the aggregate map, 15 minutes old, so I want to make sure we're kind of giving the latest. In this setup anyway, things change quickly. Not like a hurricane or something like that. It's really hard to like update everything every few seconds, so that's why it kind of works like this. We have to check the individual maps, but even on that, we don't have too many outages, so maybe, and that was just one there a few minutes ago. It looks like, hopefully, I mean, we're not getting too much trouble down toward the surface here, in toward that area. But you just never know. It could take a little bit longer here, a little bit longer to get the reports in. Nothing new at the airport area either, so that's good. New advisory out there for parts of Marion, Putnam, Clay, and Flagler there, and St. John's even. Just the whole region gets to 40 to about 6:15. So again, just continuing to watch things there. Interesting winded look on the radar, but I don't see much with that. But maybe some wind enhancement towards Sawgrass next little bit, that area, that vicinity. As we continue to watch, continue to track here. Again, just trying to give you guys the latest, but there's a chance maybe we're not getting the worst of the wind down to the surface since we're so far up on radar. But sometimes, again, this stuff takes a few extra minutes to come on in. So that's something to keep in mind. So okay, you can see how I had the purple there come together, the worst of it, and then I'm still getting heavy rain, and we could start having a flash flood threat here on Ocala if we're not careful, because these areas have a tendency to flood pretty easy. About 1.5 inches here pretty quick down just south of the airport. Hope to see if we get a quick few inches there. And Marion, I know, interesting signature here. I don't think that's anything. That's just the boundary here kind of setting off our algorithm for a tornado, but not really concerned with that right now. I wouldn't think here. Got an advisory for parts of southeast Duval now. Winds to 50 possible. I think it's that little area. I have a little bit of a hook there on that. Not expecting like a tornado or anything like that with that, but maybe a funnel cloud. I don't think you could completely run a funnel cloud with something like that, but we'll watch it. But again, let's go back down here toward the south. Get back down toward the south here in this type of setup. As we continue to watch here, continue to give you guys the very latest. Probably going to wrap it up pretty soon. Another warning goes to 6. Still could have some more damage potential in here. So be careful whenever thunderstorms go indoors. But giving you a pretty good heads up on this. Not seeing it as strong of the action there now. Could still get some more warnings to pop in some of the spots across our area. So keep that in mind. You have some surface-based capes still lingering around there. That's pretty high. So that's something to kind of bear in mind here. Let me go ahead and look here real quick. I want to double check some things for tomorrow. We'll have a chance of storms again tomorrow. I just want to make sure we kind of have the latest on that here. Since I've been on a while here and there, just want to make sure everything is kind of similar here in terms of the outlooks. Tomorrow, no formal risk here as of now for area, but it wasn't at this point yesterday for today, and then we got the upgrade. So you never know here. A little bit less rain chance tomorrow. You know, there's things like high school football preseason going on tomorrow night. Hopefully the weather will hold out for that. In fact, let's try to, since we're kind of still waiting to see if we get any new updates on this warning or any other new warning. Let's go ahead and kind of, I know you can see the lightning on here and the current lightning, current warnings, but I'm going to go to a forecast model for the future radar here, if we can. So let me go ahead and get over to that. So I just want to see what this is presented to us around like 4 o'clock tomorrow. This is 4 o'clock tomorrow, not too much here though. I wonder if that's, I'm going to go forward here because it could get maybe more stuff to pop if it's that quiet at that point in the day. But no, it actually says it's staying quiet, like the word Levy and a lot to at this point. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going back in time now. Earlier on in the day, you have some stuff down there, so maybe that kind of gets it out of the way there earlier on. That's like at 8 a.m. tomorrow, 9 a.m. tomorrow there. So interesting. Just checking. I know that I was looking down toward Levy County for the Bradford Chiefland game there. That's at 7 o'clock. Preseason football there as the two teams tune up for the season. So maybe a little bit less rain chance for that game than we had earlier in that forecast. We had 50%, maybe more like 40% now, but I haven't had a chance to do calculation. Next formal update, we'll already be past that game at that point, but I know the temperatures there in the 80s probably is what we're really thinking. Low mid 80s is what I had there for the forecast when I went through all the different numbers last night. But again, that's just one model, so I don't want to really go anything in terms of big changes here, but just kind of give you a little bit of update. Maybe trending a little bit maybe warmer there if we have enough time to heat up during the day, and a little bit drier, but we'll see. You know, it varies here. Model to model can say different things. Model run to model run as well. So again, I think we're about to wrap it up here since we don't have as much, unless we get another warning real quick on us. Another warning goes till 6, so be careful down there. But this is earlier for an area further out to the west, and it's a little more populated down here. Still some wind enhancement. It's just we don't have the greatest radar view. We haven't got reports really too much, and the airport hadn't saw anything higher. I would have thought we'd have had a higher gust at the airport by now. This was really causing some problems. I'm going to check to see if we're getting anything new. I'm hitting refresh to force it to refresh on me if we're getting new data, but we're not seeing anything like that right now. Let's see out here again. It's pretty strong right near Sawgrass, Ponte Vedra Beach. Not severe warned, but definitely some wind enhancement. Even Jacksonville Beach there to some degree. So be kind of careful there. We have this area out toward Palatka. That's pretty strong. Again, these aren't getting warnings, so that's the good news. But Eccles County, some wind energy there around Live Oak a little bit. Waycross there. We had a warning up there that we had to come on for that in the other area. Down towards St. Augustine earlier on, you have a little bit of wind enhancement just east of Crawfordville. That's showing up there on the Doppler. So, again, just continuing to give you guys the latest. Yeah, I'm just kind of backing up here. I know sometimes the radar views it's hard to see down here, but that looks more disorganized. 24 one way and 15 the other way. Had a little bit stronger wind sun up by the time that warning got issued. 46 mile an hour gust reported at Bayport around 5:07, by the way. That's just coming, but that's by the time the warning got issued. You can see here, and the numbers weren't that much higher. It's just the signature, the greens and reds are a little more close together there, and then we had the more the developmental phase. If you can tell here, these storms merging, and that's sometimes when you get stronger weather. They're more purple when they're in blacks too, so it's kind of broadened some, in my opinion. Can't guarantee it. You gotta still be careful in this area around Ocala, around Bellevue, to some degree, more Ocala, but Ocala Airport, you kind of get the idea. So, again, warning still goes in the 17 minutes, so still be careful one here. Even if I go off here in a moment, don't think the threat's completely over. I mean, it's not a tornado situation. We don't have to stay on wall to wall. I know I've been trying to do that here for many of these here, one who think it's necessary, but for just repeating the same information on a severe thunderstorm warning, after a while here, you kind of get the gist here of what's going on, and keep in mind, if I'm not seeing like a strengthening trend there, then that's positive. A tornado situation, though, a lot more in a minute we have to stay on for you guys. We're required to do that. So, again, we have to. But coverage map here, You can see our 62 counties. We're in Bradford. That's in Marion. Flood advisory just issued from Marion as well, by the way. Let's go down here and look at the rain over the last hour now in this mode. And we're really starting to see that rain add up over 3 inches there now. Just west of 75 in the last hour, and the rain's still coming down. I'm glad that's not right over Ocala's downtown, because we might be in danger of getting a flash flood warning if we saw that over downtown. But we'll have to watch the rain number to be adding up there. Of course, if you need to come on for more information to protect you, your friends, and your family, we will. Facebook there, and Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. But if we just need to post about things, Facebook and Twitter, and Twitter's now called X, by the way, the X platform. We'll just post about it on those pages, Facebook and then Twitter. If we don't need to come on, like when we have to come on, we're streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, Twitch there. So again, let's see, take that off the screen and continue to watch things here. I mean, so the wind enhancement coming down some, but still a lot of heavy rain in toward that area. So remember, turn around, don't drown here. That's another mantra from the National Weather Service. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind there. Still some wind enhancement showing up here in toward this area. Again, we're going to continue to watch it, continue to track it. Southwest 60th Avenue, State Road 200, again, it would seem a little less likely. Doesn't mean it's not happening, but it would seem a little less likely that a wind potential still staying at severe, but it seems more like a gully washer or a rainmaker now, though. And it could become an issue in Ocala because they are not an area that necessarily drains as easy there sometimes. So be careful in Ocala. Remember to turn around, don't drown in this type of situation. I mean, you're seeing quite a bit of rain right over town there in Ocala. I mean, that's really falling pretty rapidly there as rainfall amounts. Adding on up here, and you can kind of see, I mean, they've had the heavy rain now for the last 20 minutes in Ocala. You can see out toward the west here. Signature's still there some, which is a little surprising. I feel like that's not something that's actually quite as organized. It's more about no rain threat because of this, but we're not in the greatest view on the radar to know for certain. We can't know for sure here, which is not great, but again, just continuing to watch things here. You can kind of see this Moody radar is showing it a little bit weaker, but it's been showing it kind of weak there. Again, the airport didn't get higher on the wind. We haven't got the power outage numbers going up yet. Tampa's radar there, you still see some enhancement, but not a lot. Let me go ahead and check here, powdernet.us. See if I have anything new there out of Marion. Because generally you'll get some outages there. Only 6 customers so far showing out in the dark. So again, that's the storyline there. Again, going back on over to the Doppler. Some heavy rain around Bellevue right now. Summerfield. Not necessarily damaging weather, but you're hearing some rumbles of thunder whenever thunder roars. Go indoors there in southern Marion County right now. There's a new advisory to the north now. They're going with winds to 50 possible. And this line there from Clinch through Echo to Hamilton through Swanee. And we've had all this light rain around Bradford. Hopefully that'll help suppress things. But that stuff will be kind of headed down to the southeast. But that's light rain hanging around Stark might kind of help weaken stuff as it gets further on. Maybe later on in the timeline. You can see stuff around Waycross. That looks a little more impressive with some of the lightning. But again, it's hard to tell. So we're kind of a little further on that radar. Let's go to the Moody radar view again and try to give you a vantage point on what's going on. And you can kind of see there. Again, not always something that's definitive. So again, looking down here in Marion County, looks like we're getting some development there. Yeah, definitely getting development as you put that in motion around Bellevue now. So this could be an issue down toward Weirsdale. I mean, just seeing that development might get us another warning just as a broad brush here further on off. But maybe toward the east or pretty similar area in some ways. So we'll see. Because it's so far on the radar, just don't exactly know. But a significant weather advisory might also do the trick as we're down here. Again, that Tampa radar showing the reflectivity colored a little bit less there, a little weaker. Again, just continuing to watch. So let me go ahead here and I know we're almost getting to the point where they're going to do a decision on this, so maybe we hold it out here closer to 6 now to see what they decide to do. So we've kind of waited long enough here now where I just need to stick with this a few extra minutes to see if they decide to reissue or go with an advisory. I know out toward the west here, you can see in parts of Levy County, Usher, Otter Creek, Chiefland, some heavy rain there. Some lightning around whenever thunder roars, obviously go indoors in that area. Again, looking toward Bellevue here. You can see some, again, lightning, but we're really, when we get that purple in there, really on the edge of the Doppler. Makes it hard to know what's going on here in some of these spots with the velocity, the wind mode of the radar. Again, just continue to track it, the threats here. I'm just checking some more of my sources. Again, not really seeing the parroted numbers up yet, but they're taking their time showing up. Maybe we get a push of wind at some point in here. I know. I've had some nasty weather down toward Brevard County today. And there was a rocket launch scheduled. I don't know if we've had any change to that, but over 6 inches reported around Mims there in Brevard County, Florida, the Space Coast, East Central Florida. But let's get back up toward our local area again on the Jacksonville radar. Again, that looks a little bit weaker. Some of that's kind of pushing southeast now, it looks like. Looks up around Bellevue, a little bit heavier, it would seem. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's going to be kind of hard even on the velocities. Let's see if, I don't think it's going to catch it. No, it's not going to quite get there to terminal radar. I'm just trying to get some other looks at this in southern parts of Marion. It doesn't look that impressive there, but sometimes we're just so high up, it's going to be hard to tell what's really going on. Let's go to the Melbourne radar. I think get it a little bit of wind in there. It's hard to say for sure, though. As we continue to watch, continue to track. Just checking some different modes. Some of these you're not used to seeing, like correlation coefficient, but this helps me out as a meteorologist to kind of understand what may be going on in there. Maybe some small hail in there if possible. Okay, they're expiring a warning. They don't think there's quite enough there. They're going to let it go as of 6 o'clock then. I kind of agree. Probably more of an advisory situation as we look ahead and toward that timeline. So I know technically they could reissue on this here as we get closer to 6. If they do, we'll either come back on and or Roy just posted about it here in that timeline. What I mean by that, and or, I mean, we could always post about it and then we see it really ramp back up again and have to come back. But there's your different platforms that we're on. I know we're seeing a little bit of development again around Waycross there. Interestingly enough, you see that little bit of a heel signature popping up there. That would indicate some strengthening up that way now. And we have that margin of rest, a little bit more force in here going on overall in this setup. A little bit more of a contrast here with this pattern. I'll kind of see what I'm talking about. You can see there with the wind directions and the like, the frontal boundary situation that we're dealing with. So, again, we definitely could have to come back on. This isn't a pattern here where we're not seeing, any enhancement. We are seeing a little bit more than we generally see for this time of year, but this time of year you're already used to seeing storms that are pretty nasty at times. So keep that in mind too. Watching up in Ware County, we'll see if this is more unpopulated. It may not come back, but I see in some areas, even around Waycross, they look a little more broad, but this is the area that's a little more concentrated. I wonder what direction really is on that. It's kind of just not moving too much, maybe. Maybe to the east. You can't, our system says northwest. This stuff is not moving very much here at all. You kind of look there, that purple. It's kind of an illusion to seeing more development over that same area. That can lead to some more flooding. I know where it's spotted. So be careful and keep in mind that could be an issue down to Ocala's way if we keep getting more and more rain right in toward town. So I'll be back if necessary, but for now, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Stay safe out there.